Hi guys, and welcome to the Pegasus Show. My name's Admiral Pegasus, and on today's show we are going to be talking about the new Temporal Artifacts, and we're going to actually be taking the walkthrough of the actual loop. We will also be showing you some charts towards the end of the video as well, which have been done up courtesy of JulesVern, who actually got them done extremely fast. So it clearly shows the fact that the information was provided, or it was very easy to obtain. But anyway, if you want to know when I go live or release new videos, please subscribe to the channel. So, Temporal Artifacts, new thing dropped into the game in March 2024. And what are they? Well, basically, they are pretty much the same as the original artifacts, but they have a change. It's more like the favors, but they are basically another form of research and just probably offsetting a few little mistakes of the previous stuff. Now, I did do the video just before Arcfall on the Temporal Artifacts, where we went through the patch notes, which was provided on the early release for them, where we actually discovered that this was going to be the third loop in the third month of 2024. Yes, we've had 3 consecutive loops added in regard to the Zindi. Now, this is a loop, to be perfectly frank, right, you do not really need to engage with in an active way. You literally just press a couple of buttons and you can be done, but guaranteed it's going to take you longer. But where do you need to start? Well, the first place you need is Ops 38. I will just put that straight out there at the beginning of this loop. You need to be Ops 38 to engage in this. And then you're going to go to the Ex-Borg faction store, where we're going to go right now. And what you'll see is you're going to see a couple of new items added to that store. There we go, on the top line. Shoot, I forgot to collect my Enterprise this morning. I'll have to do that tomorrow morning to keep it within the 24-hour timer. So that means now I'm an extra day behind on the Enterprise. Ugh, another day to go to those aquatics. But anyway, so ignoring the Enterprise for a minute, as you can see, we've got 2 items here. We've got the Temporal Disruptors and we've got the Silent Nebula tokens. These Nebula tokens are warp tokens, which will work similar to the Actian tokens and the Borg tokens. As you can see underneath in red, it's written max 8. So basically, you will get 2 of these tokens every single day, but you'll only be able to hold a maximum of 8. So technically, as well, if you wanted to make this as an active but passive at the same time, you could build these up and do them in a single run, similar to what some players would have learned when it comes to the Actians. Just build them up and then go do, 8 or 9 runs in a single day, and then just wait another 4 days after that. So it's like you spend 4 days collecting. On the 5th day, you do a single run, you pull it again, and then you run the remaining 9 runs. So, hang on, is it 9? Yeah, so 9 runs. So technically you could probably end up with about 10 runs. So there's just an idea. If you actually don't want to make this an active grinding, obviously that will be changing your grinding up from probably about a 10-15 minute grind to probably an hour or so. But that's entirely up to you. The Temporal Disruptors is something we're going to use to do these new Temporal Artifacts. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and claim these. As you can see, you get 150 a day, which basically means I've got a right tickly nose. Yeah, you're just putting these towards these new shards. So there we go. As you can see, the 22-hour cooldown time has come up. So that's absolutely fine. I'm sure I went through all my factions this morning. I must have missed this. So I must have stopped at the Bajoran one. Oops. Let me just confirm that one, because I'm sure I did. Yep, I didn't collect my Dolomite, and I didn't collect that. Augment, did I go in here? No, I did not. Well, there's something you learn. Pegasus doesn't always remember to collect everything, because I ain't even collected my faction credits yet. So I'm going to leave them for another 8 hours and then collect them then. But anyway, so You've collected your temporal disruptors, so where do you need to go next? Well, the next place you need to go is your artifact gallery. So now, as we normally do with the Pegasus show, showing you these new loops, we're doing the actual walkthrough on what you'll actually do. So why I've gone into the R&D, I really don't know. This shows I'm not paying attention. What typical. So as you can see there in my artifact gallery, I've ended up with 10. So I'm going to just press that. Go into convert. We're not going to discuss the artifacts because we discussed that in the other video, but as you can see here, we've got 2 new chests. Now this one here we're going to talk about in just a moment. What we want to be looking at is the temporal restorations. These are your artifacts, and what you can do is you can put these disruptors into these to actually claim some of these back. Now this one is the one Scopley is primarily aimed at, is the Great Eye of Aurora, which is basically going to reduce the shard make the shard efficiency a lot more bearable, so that they're not going to cost as much. This could be one that you aim for first and go as far as you can potentially go. As you can see, 25% at level 12, but that's when you're actually getting into the higher levels when you eventually get there. Uncommon artifacts. Yes, I've got a bit of dry throat as well, so this is really not helping. Uncommons are going to cost you 100 of the disruptors per chest, or 600 if you want to go for the 6 chests. Now I will tell you, every single chest in this particular section is linear. So which means whatever the multi-chest is will be exactly the multi-cost of a single chest. So it's a perfect line. So which is one thing I like to see in a game. I'm sure most of you do too. So moving on to the rares. You're going to find that these are going to cost you exactly 150 disruptors, but you'll see the multi-chest is now dropped to 4, but it's still 600. 600 will be the maximum you can do, but of course the multi-chest will drop to accommodate that. And then moving on to the epics finally, we'll do the Book of Customogen, 200, 600 for 3 chests. So that's how it's all going to work. Now, I'm not going to pull these just yet, because what I want to do is show you the temple exchange. Now, I got caught out with this because I did try recording this at one point, and I did start grinding in one system, only to find I shouldn't really been in that system. It was all right for the event, which I failed to complete. I failed it. I only got halfway. And I ran out of tokens, despite the fact I had 5 tokens. So, as you can see in here then, this is where you're going to be bringing this loot right here. This is your temporal disruptor parts. Now, like I said, they're coming in different grades. So you're going to have G4 uncommon, G4 rare, G5 uncommon, G5 rare, and so on. Obviously, this one I will show you in the charts later on in the video. But what you'll see here as well is how do you collect these parts is literally follow that. It's telling you where you need to, what you need to do. You need to earn them by killing the rares, okay, just to get the rare tokens, 46 to 49 in my case. I'm an Ops 49 player. If you are Ops 38 through 45, you will need to hit the G4 uncommon ones. Now, it can be done. They are going to be a struggle for some players. So you will need to look and test out some crews. A lot of crews are being thrown out there. I will put a couple of crews up that has been recommended by Scopley. But again, it's going to come down to your individual gameplay on how you do this, because the enemy ships do have special abilities. So basically, I'm going to have to fly off to one of this particular system. It's not telling me the system, mind you, but go kill these hostiles just to gain this actual loot. So starting it off here first, as you can see, I'm going to get a guaranteed pull of temporal disruptors. Then I'm going to get a guaranteed pull of all 4 class parts. It's not a big pull, but it's there. And they are just uncommon. Next up in here as well is these prime augment medallions, which is going to gain access to a load of primes. Yeah, primes. Again, I'm going to show you the chart later on in the video and just give you a general idea of, based on, we'll take the lowest point because you're not going to be guaranteed to pull these medallions every single time you do a pull. We'll see what pull we'll actually get today when we actually do this, depending on how many of these tokens I will have after doing a grind. So, oh, I forgot to show you the rest of the chest. So further down then, obviously you're going to have some rares, you're going to have a bigger version of the pull, but every other ship part in here is under RNG. So do not guarantee you're going to get like these 2,000 uncommons, 270 rares. Don't guarantee you're going to get it, but it would be nice if you actually did. So next up is going for the grind. Now, like I said, there are various crews that you can actually use. One I can show you right here is going to be this one. Obviously, do not send out the Fortunate because you don't stand a chance, but it hasn't got the warp range anyway. So you'll be looking primarily at this particular set on full synergy. Now, I'm going to throw in here that one count I've heard put Neelix below deck for Severus's officer's captain's ability when burning. However, I also heard the counter argument to that one is you don't need it. So that's down to you if you want to. Now, the reason they're saying you don't need it is because of the silent hostiles ship's ability, which we will discuss in just a moment. But this is pretty much basically just applying damage to the ships and yeah, and literally going for full synergy. Now, I also heard that Decius is probably the weakest link in this crew. So maybe change him out for somebody else. Maybe someone like Tucker or whoever. So now, so that's the primary crew. Or not the primary crew, that's one crew. The next crew is this one here. Enterprise E, Picard and Data, and Trip Tucker. Now, do not worry if you don't have Enterprise E, Data, or Picard. You can use Pike Moreau. The classic PMC, just changing the C for Tucker. That's it. So you can literally do that. Obviously here, this is going to be loot. One card you will need below deck as well as a big one is going to be Hugh. Also, probably would highly recommend, especially if you have her at least tier 3, 4, or 5, is going to be B'Elanna Torres. My B'Elanna Torres is not that high, so it's worthless me putting her on the ship because I can't guarantee she's going to proc that hull breach for me within the first 5 rounds, because you will need to try and kill these within the first round. The Severus crew that I've just showed you, that will kill them within 5 rounds. So this one might go a little bit longer, 6-7 rounds, but I'm applying the isolated damage, but I'm also getting loot. But you are also looking at Trip Tucker's officer's ability, not below deck, on the bridge, reducing opponent's critical damage by 50% for 2 rounds, and it stacks. Now, these hostiles that we're going to be going up against, this is the firing pattern for it. They fire 4 weapons, 3 rounds each. But again, it's just the 4 weapon part you're looking at, because weapons with multiple shots will only trigger this ability once. So you're looking at 4 weapons, and you're looking at a stack of 200% reduction to critical damage. That is going to be key. Okay, that is going to be key, and as you can see, it's 3 shots every single weapon, every single round. So these are going to be hitting you quite hard. So let's join the Newton where it is and show you the systems where you want to be looking at. So, like I say, for low-level players, PM Tucker is definitely going to be one that you could actually definitely get to grips with. So as you can see, I've only got 2 systems open. The first one here, this is your G4 uncommon temporal exchange parts. So going in here, obviously killing the hostiles in here. primarily aim for the 41s if you can. Yes, they are weaker, which means you will be able to hit more. If you are an Ops 38, 39, you've got a relatively strong, and I mean 10 million plus enterprise, that would probably be the best bet. Yeah, that's pretty much what I can say. Is for the low-level players, PM Tucker would be the best thing you can go for, but you will need to go here. Now, if you are in the 46 to 50 bracket like I am, you want to be going for this particular system here. This is the system I'm going to be going into. And obviously in here, there are the level 46 and level 49 hostiles. These will give me the rare temporal exchange parts that I'm actually going to need. And then obviously, like I said, we'll show you the chart later on about the other systems as well. So here we go. I'm going to fly into the system, and then what I'm going to do is show you the hostiles, and we're going to take some out and try and get as much in my cargo hold as possible. Okay, so here we are, just entered the system. So as you can see here, straight out, we've got the 46 and 49. So we're going to pick a target immediately and show you the ability. Now, ship's ability here, this is the one you want to be looking at. Increases critical chance by 100% for the first 4 rounds, which means the first 4 rounds, they are going to be hitting critical shots no matter what. So just bear that in mind. Next up is obviously Deadly Strike, which is critical damage by 350% at the start of every round. Tests so far by a lot of other players are showing that this does stack. So just bear that in mind. So this is where Trip Tucker is going to become very, very effective. And then Predator Instincts at the bottom. This hostile's critical damage cannot be reduced below 50%. So it doesn't matter how much Trip Tucker does strip off it, it will not drop below 50%. And then its final ability is the reason why people say you don't need Neelix on the ship with Severus. This ship applies burning for 6 rounds at the start of combat. So basically, it's going to burn you, but it's going to proc Severus. Now, the reason being is because apparently Severus actually needs your ship to be burning for him to work. So I think that's the case. I mean, please, if I am wrong, correct me in the comment section down below. But anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to go, forgot to show you the loot on these things. So they're going to drop grade 4, grade 5, grade 6, whatever parts, class specific broken parts. And they're also going to drop the temporal disruptor parts that you will need for that other chest, which we will go and show you a little bit later on. Now, as you can see, 303 that's given, and I ended up with 2,277, and that's how much damage I took, which means I'm going to be able to take a few of these on. Probably best I go with the triangle on this one. I might take less damage against this Explorer. So just having a look. No, actually I took a hell of a lot more damage. Was not expecting that. That was a 46 I took on, wasn't it? Not a 49. Because that's about the damage. No, it's a 46. It was a 46. Okay, so was not expecting that. So, as you can see, I'm taking a fair bit of damage. Now, the one thing is as well, just to throw it out there, Scopley appeared to be doing this now where you really cannot skip faction ships. I mean, you can see the damage I'm taking against these things. I'm taking a lot of damage. So, is there another battleship in here? No. So, at some point, you may have no choice to go against the high hostile. So, as you can see, that I've got 6,800. Oh, this one's damaged, so that means I'm going to get away with this one, which is good. Because I'm not going to survive much longer in this one. But the Newton is my strongest ship. So, that was close. But yeah, I'm going loot crew all the way. If you can do loot crew, by all means, do it. There's a battleship there. I probably won't survive against it, but I'm still going to be walking away out of this with just under 9,000, which basically means to do that 3 chest pull, I'm going to have to come back in here again and do another run. So I'm going to go and do that, and then I'll see you back in the artifact gallery. Okay, so I managed to do that second run, and I ended up with a cargo hold of about 9,000. Now, some of you may realise the mistake I made. I literally just jumped back in here, looked at the parts at the top, and I was thinking, that doesn't look right. Why? So I had to go to my battle logs just to actually check anything. We will be having a look at the battle logs in just a minute. Yeah, I forgot about all those parts that were filling up my cargo bay too. So 2 runs for me is not going to be enough for me to do the 3 chest pull. However, it's going to be enough for me to do the 1 chest pull. But eventually, once I get the Newton teed up a little bit further, so which means now I have an aim to get that Newton to a higher tier, so which means I'm going to wait till the treasury weekend, and then hopefully, touch wood, I'll be able to blast it up a little bit higher. But until then, I'm going to get to do a 1 chest pull instead of the hoping of the 3 chest pull. So here we go. And as you can see, the costs are not exactly linear. No, they're not. So here we go. Literally did not get anything of the other chests. Didn't get anything. All I got was the guaranteed pulls. That was it. Wow. Not even any medallions. So that's going to make the maths later in the video with the certain charts a little bit more interesting. But the one thing is as well, now I've got the extra shards. Now I've got 300, which means now I can go for a little bit more of these. Now, I'm not going to right now. I'm going to be saving these up so I can actually go ahead and do a big pull. And what the reason I'm going to do that is because I'm going to show you this. So I am going to use some here just now. Get one of these shards, okay? So that's that done. Obviously, every time I'll be looking for the 6th one. But look, it's not got any timer on it. Which basically means I can come in here as many times as I want to continuously keep pulling shards. So basically, I'm going to just keep going until I've got enough. I need 30 shards for this. So 30 times 100, 30,000. Is it? No? Hang on, let me just do some quick maths. No, I think it's 3,000. 3,000. That's all I need. So basically, I keep going. So based at 150 a day, if you don't want to do the loop, okay, if you don't want to go out grinding, okay, pulling that chest once a day, 150 a day, bringing them in here, you're looking around about, what, 23, 24 days to get the full 30 shards of this. Okay? Obviously, if you do go out and do the grinding, then you got the chance to pull that other tab, get some extra tokens, bring them in here. That's going to make it a little bit faster. So it's down to you what you actually want to do. So let's go jump and have a quick look at a couple of these battle logs. Just show you the kind of firepower that these hostiles are kicking out. So like I said, it is a loop that you don't need to worry about actively doing. You can just do it as a passive. Just do it as my pulls in the morning. So which basically means if I actually generally forgot to actually go out and do these, like at the minute I keep forgetting about my Zindi scraps, I keep forgetting about my Borg, but Artfall is usually around the busiest time, coupled in with real life of dealing with my family, it can be a little bit nightmare to actually get around. But as you can see, I went 6 rounds with these. Cerberus crew might actually be a little bit more effective for me, but that's a crew I can potentially try running tomorrow and actually see what happens. But as you can see, the ability where it's giving 100% criticals from round 1 for the first 4 rounds, 100% is kicking out criticals straight away. But don't forget as well that critical damage is building as well. But now as well, I've got Trip Tucker proccing because the first weapon's fired. Here comes the second weapon, so which means Trip should proc again. He is. So just confirm it. There's a third weapon, and here's the fourth weapon. And Trip Tucker's proccing at the beginning of the next round for me. So Trip is clearly proccing. He's helping to keep that critical damage of the silent enemy down. Because if I didn't have Trip on the ship right now, God only knows what that's going to be. But again, I'll find that out when I run the Severus Synergy crew tomorrow. But let's just see where these criticals are going to be at round 5. So there's round 4. As you can see, just quickly there, we are still proccing criticals. The damage is now at 1.3 million. That's a kinetic weapon, I believe. So it's got 2 energy weapons, 2 kinetic, as you saw from the firing pattern earlier. But here we go, round 5, and the criticals have stopped, which means now this thing's not smacking me so hard. But again, it's still going to hit me, and when it does proc a critical, if it procs a critical, is it going to? No. Round 6, and... oh, here we go. Shields depleted for me, but there you go, it's procced. It's done a double critical on that particular weapon, where it's taken my shield down, then fired its final shot. And bang, see you later. I've hit it with a triple critical to finish off. So, but just quickly as well, for showing you the general information about it. Its critical chances originally, baseline is 10%, 150% actual damage. So that's the hostiles, that's the general loop. So what we're going to do now is we're going to jump over and show you some charts which have been done up, and just give you a quick overview on what they are. Okay, first up in the chart set is we're going to look at this one. These are all the primes that require the prime orbit medallions. And as you can see on this side, this is how much it's going to cost you. As you can see, you've got a few there. You've got the prime efficiency stations, which is going to cost you 1,700. In total, they are a multi-level. This one down here is also a multi-level. This one's 4, but this one's going to cost you 2,700. So as you can see, they are dotted across 3 trees. The top 2, the prime critical damage floor, was released back in January. Yeah, so that's a 2024 release. And then crit evasion, prime crit evasion was just released this month. So that's the brand newest that they've already given a free-to-play path. Now, let's give some simple maths on this one. If you ever proc that 5 medallion pull in the Temporal Exchange, yeah, 5. You're looking at 200 days just to do one of these. 200 days. Yeah. So when you're looking at all this, maybe 6 or 7 years. 6 or 7 years to do all this. Now, that's all right for those of you down at Ops 38. Because you can start working through this. The G3 prime station efficiency levels 1 to 3, that's one you could potentially just, say, well, scrub that. I don't want that. I'm heading into G4. So do the G4 one. Make it easier for you to start going through the G4 and getting yourself up there. Me, I will most likely ignore the G4, G5, G3, G4 ones. Because the G5 one, for me, opens at R&D 49. Ooh, I'm slowly making my way towards that one, so which means that prime I can work after, but it's going to cost me 1,700, okay? But the first level is 200. Ooh, 200. That's 40 days. If I pocket, that's 40 days just to do that first level. And it's the same with G3 and G4 as well. They're 200 to begin with. So, not quite sure what this one is, but given that price, I don't think it's going to be 200. But, so, yeah, just watch out for that one. So, but now we're going to find one of the other charts. Okay, so we've got a rather big one here. So this was one that you've probably seen flying around with Lube and Rev Juice. I know I've seen it on their live streams at the minute and in Rev's video. But this is basically just giving you some general overview. And if we try and scroll in a little bit, we'll start at the top here. Artifact remnants. Oh yeah, so this is actually when you reach that particular point where the artifacts go from, in the details, and it gives you the power and percentages, it turns blue in writing. So then you're going to start needing some of these remnants. But remnants per shard, so what you're going to get for the uncommons, you'll get 1 remnant. For the rares, you're going to get 5, and epics, the questioning 15. So, but yeah, I'm not even at that point yet. It's still above me. I'm not 100% sure about that. Next one is the Temporal Restoration, just here. So, looking at this one, I'm not actually viewed these properly. I just saw them coming up in the streams and videos, but looking at this one, you're looking at the rarity. Disruptors per shard is 100. So that's the turn-ins for the shards. Base shards to max levels 1 to 8. Right, yeah. So now I've sourced this one. You lot probably already knew this. So you're probably screaming at Pegasus, come on, catch up, man. Yeah, I've not had a chance to keep up with things. So the base shards max for levels 1 to 8. For the uncommons, you're going to need 357. So for me, that's going to be around about 335 days worth of actual pulling if I'm actively in the grind. Just as a rough number plucked out my head. The rares, you're going to need 399 shards, and then the epics are going to need 550 each. Then you're going into and it's obviously giving you there the total number of disruptors that you're actually going to need as well. So obviously listen to them. So next up, you've got the remnants, obviously from levels 9 to 12, and these are the number of temporal remnants you're actually going to need to actually complete off all 12 levels. So next here, you've got your daily claim. Obviously, that's a golden given. We saw that one in the game itself, so that's a pretty simple one. Then we've got this one, which is the exchange pass. Now, this is the one that you will need to watch. It's telling you what hostiles to hit in that first section, the number of temporal disruptor parts as well, which you're going to need for the chest. So as you can see, it's going to be 3,000 for the single chest, 12,000 for the 2 chest, and it doesn't matter which ones you've got. So what level you're at, because that's the same cost through and through. Now, the rarities which will catch you out, because it caught me out on Arc Launch. 40 to 45 is going to be the uncommons that I mentioned. 46 to 50 is where I'm at. That's the rares. So which basically means ideally I'm probably going to need that G4 epic ship. Yeah, I was actually planning on avoiding that and going straight to the G5 uncommon. Yeah, I might actually need the Tribune now. So it's definitely going to be worth me going after. 51 to 54 is going to be hitting the 51 to 55 hostiles. Now, there have been a lot of players saying that they've not been able to hit those level 55s, or they can only take 1 or 2 on because they're just so strong. I believe that has been the main content creators like Rev and that have brought that back to game design. So I think that's currently in discussion. I'm not 100% sure. What will happen, I do not know. But yeah, I don't have an NDA, so I'm not party to those discussions. I just give the information that I see and what I hear. So 50 to 60 is going to be the 5-star rares, which is going to be hitting the 57 to 59 hostiles. And then you got the G6, excuse me, for 6162 is hitting 6162 for the G6 uncommon, and the G6 rares 63 to 65. So if you are above 65, you're going to be hitting the 65s anyway. Here's your extra stuff. Guaranteed temporal disruptors, 150 across the board, no matter what. Medallions, again, 5, 10, 20 across the board, but they are under RNG. So now just quickly throwing in a big shout out to JulesVern, is that Quasel and Blue Mandarin and the rest of the STFC community who come together to get this information as fast as possible. Ship parts are next. As you can see, they're ranked by G4, G5 and G6. Let's move myself over. In the G4, guaranteed you're going to be 150 for the uncommons. The rares, you're going to get 65. In the G5, you're going to be guaranteed uncommon 120. Rare chests are going to be 130. And then in G6, the uncommon chests are 45 and the rares are 50. Then you got the R and G versions as well for the uncommons and also the rares as well. Now that will be centered across all 4 classes, so just as a reminder there. Next one here is obviously giving you all the different ship abilities, which we've already discussed in game. And then to finally, oh hello, let's get that back up. Then to, oh my lord. And then to finish it off here is the locations and loot tabs. So there's all your systems to begin with. And, oh yeah, there is one more down there. So as you can see, the number of disruptor parts, they also can give you, they're giving you a low numbers and high numbers. Then the rare broken parts as well, on the individual gradings as well. I mean, you can clearly see what it all says there, so there's no need for me to go through it. But obviously the disruptor parts as well, they're really kicking up in the higher level as well. So 12,960 just for that high one. Well, you only need 12,000 for the chest, so it clearly shows that the higher level you go, the more you're going to get. But as you can see, the highest points that I can potentially get is 305 off the 46s. But again, adding on to my my loot crew, as you saw, I got over 2,000 in the cargo bay. So how many of those things I'm not quite sure. We'll have a quick look at the we'll have a look in just a minute. PvE chests, obviously not giving you any information on there, but the broken parts as well, how many parts you're going to get. So they are all the charts that we have, and they are quite a lot. Now, I won't be dropping these in my Discord because obviously it does take time for me to get things around. I'll eventually get round to putting them in the Discord, but until then, I would highly recommend that you check out the Officers Tool Discord, because they're certainly in there for you to view. That's where I pulled these from. So big shout out to the community for pulling together all this information. So let's have a quick look at the loot drops I got in combat. Okay, so but here we are back in this, and as you can see, just jumping straight in with where it was left off, level 46 hostile. As you can see, I got 836 for that. So I'm not quite sure how much this hostile had to begin with. I think if we actually go back to the first one I killed, that would probably be the best one. As you can see, there I only managed to get 4 hostiles actually killed. This one gave me, again, 4 hostiles killed. That was it. But going back to this first one, if I remember correctly, this one had 303 on offer. I ended up with 833. Now, if I'd have actually bothered to check that little bit earlier in the video, we would have actually seen that, and then I would have known I was never on course for the 12,000 whatsoever. But anyway, that's what it is. So that's your hostiles. That's the loot walkthrough. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Is this a loot that you want to actually partake in, or is it a loot that you're going to turn around and sack off and just, you know, press that button just to get your temporal disruptors? But again, like I say, it's entirely up to you what you do. But anyway, thank you for joining me. I've been Admiral Pegasus. This has been the Pegasus Show. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. If you wish to become a channel member, obviously the join button for membership is available, but we also have links for PayPal and Cashapp in the description down below. Also the link to my Discord as well. But until then, that's all there is for me to say. Thank you for joining me. I'm Admiral Pegasus. Stay safe, live long and prosper, and I shall catch you on the next one. Goodbye.